Hello, hello, welcome. And tell me, I know I have so many business owners, entrepreneurs, those who want to be selling more, but who are like, oh my God, sales. If that's you, this conversation is definitely one you're going to not only want to listen to intently, but you're going to want to save. And here's why. Today's guest is all about teaching you, showing you how to sell comfortably so that we can get rid of all that stigma that we have around sales, all the nonsense stories we tell about sales, and we can step into sales authentically. I am your host, Chaitali and Stacey, business and success mentor to the high achiever. And today, my guest is Stacey Hall, who has not only been speaking, but as I already mentioned, is an author, mentor. And Stacey, before I can go on and on and on, I think it'd be better for you to introduce yourself. So welcome to the Soul Mastery podcast, and let us know a little bit about you before we dive
Okay,
into
well,
today's topic.
I'm going to say you did a very wonderful job. Thank you for inviting me into your studio. What I think is most important for today's discussion is to know that I grew up in sales. My father was a salesperson. I basically was all around me as I was growing up, all the sales training. I came out of school, and because of all that sales training, didn't want to go into sales. So I went into marketing instead to make things easier for salespeople. But when I went out on my own about 25 years ago to teach marketing, I wound up having to sell. And so I was really the product of my own services to start with. And then that's how I just expanded, if you will, the we'll just say the flow from marketing into sales the way I've learned it works perfectly so that everyone can have sales satisfaction and success. But if you break them up or you put them in front of each other or you mess around with the flow, it gets very icky and very hard.
I think that's cool. So, from what you just said, I would love to dive in a little bit more about how you ended up going into marketing to make it easier for salespeople. I've never thought about it that way. So, I'd love to explore that for a second. Why was that? Why was that your original path?
Well, anybody who's watching who knows me knows that my dad was in sales, as I said
Yeah.
before, and he was miserable in it. It's not really what he wanted to do. What he wanted to do, he couldn't get a job in. But he was very good with people. And so everybody said, go into sales because you're good with people. And he would start to build rapport. And his bosses would get mad. And you might say, well, how do you know that, Stacey? Well, I could hear my parents talking. I heard the tapes of all the sales gurus that he was trying to follow on how to overcome objections and learn the script and all. And he did his utmost best, just could not fit into that mold. And I didn't realize really until I went to college how that had affected me. And I really went to college for public relations, which I love the idea of a company taking money and doing good things with it for the good of the world, but that doesn't happen too often anymore. So while I was there, I thought, well, I better extend into other complementary pursuits. So marketing and advertising was an area that I minored in. And when I came out and got a job in an advertising firm, that was when I realized that all the marketing planning that I was doing to help our clients was going to help their salespeople do a better job because I was helping them identify who's their real ideal audience, what's the pain points of that audience. Here's materials that speak to that. So now the salesperson can be somebody who answers questions
Right.
rather than trying to be the one who's marketing and selling at the same time. And see, that doesn't work.
Okay. So it's almost like you help them do the research so
Yeah,
that they could stand in their power, right? In
exactly.
in
And
that
this was
in that
before
sense.
social media marketing. Now it's even easier, but people are not doing it. They're not doing it.
Right. And I think it goes to the whole thought process of salespeople, right? And I think that's where the stigma is. But I'm going to ask you this question also. But I think for me, one of the biggest shifts that I had created for myself, because I was, well, we won't even get into my drama here, but what I realize is every day no matter what you're doing, whether you're a child going to school, whether you're an adult having to start a new job, you're always selling yourself.
Yes,
Always putting
absolutely.
best, well, the goal is to always put your best foot forward. And that shift for me, I was like, wait a minute, I can do that. So when people are coming to you and they're like, Stacey, sales, oh my God, right? All the stuff that we've heard as mentors and probably even experienced, as you said yourself, like you had heard so much about sales that you were like, I don't want to do the sales, I'm going to do this. Like, what can you advise people to start thinking about when it comes to reframing sales?
Well, the first is, let's remember that sales, the sales part of sale, I mean, there's marketing and there's sales, and everybody
Yeah,
goes sales and marketing. That's the problem. You don't start selling and then market. You have to do market research, and I'll explain that because that sounds like a big, heavy word, and it's much easier than people think.
right.
But after the marketing's done, the salesperson's there to show empathy, to show kindness, to answer questions, and make it easy for the transaction to take place. That's the role of a salesperson. A real sales professional knows that. That's their lane. Only that part. Answering the questions, showing empathy and concern for the person's pain points, whether it's for a corporation or individually, and then making it easy for the transaction to take place and to hand the person over to customer service for any problems that they have. That's sales. Sales
Okay.
is not pitching. And in fact, all pitching needs to come out of marketing and sales. Marketing is where we do our research on why somebody that we've identified, and I'm not going to say target because I don't believe in the word target. Nobody wants to have a target on their forehead.
True.
But we've identified people who would be likely to use our product because our product is likely to solve their problems. So we must do first research on why was this product or why was the service created in the first place? And I'll be specific. Why was a copier, right? A copier.
Yeah.
Why was that copier created the way it was created? Well, it was engineered and designed to solve certain problems. Or why did a coach put together their coaching program? In order to solve certain problems that the coach is passionate about solving. Would you agree with me there?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got business to business, we got business to consumer here.
Right.
So in either case, once it's been designed from the passion of the person, the passion of the engineer, the passion of the coach, then we would know the type of people and the problems that we can solve.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
Marketing is designed to go send information to those people. Okay? In the case of a copier organization, they probably have a marketing department that does that generates leads, if you will, for the salesperson to then go answer questions, show empathy and concern, and make the transaction easier, and then pass them off to customer service. In the copier case, that's usually what happens. In the coach case, or in any individual entrepreneur's case, even if they hire a virtual assistant,
It's still one-stop shopping.
it's one stop, and that's where they collapse it. So I'll give you an example. Yesterday on LinkedIn, I got 3 unsolicited pitches. In all 3 cases, they had bought the high level of LinkedIn so that they could send messages to anybody.
Okay.
Is this okay for me to keep
Yeah,
going?
yeah, no, you're actually, I must have
Going,
been like telepathically transmitting it because this is actually where I wanted to go because I know so many of my listeners, viewers are individual entrepreneurs. Even if they have like a virtual assistant, like you said, they are still like the main person marketing, selling. And I'm excited for this conversation. It will help alleviate some of the stuckness that they're experiencing. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so,
Yeah,
because
me
I'm
too.
about to show you what not to do. Not you personally, but everybody. Okay.
Sure.
So here's the thing. First off, I don't pay for the high level of LinkedIn, and I make connections every single day that lead to sales.
Yeah,
I use the free account.
me too.
And in this particular case, all three did buy the higher level so that they could send in mail. And under the heading of just because you can doesn't mean you should, in all three cases, it was as if I met the person at a party, right? So I always like to say, treat people like you would at a party, but you wouldn't, most folks would not treat somebody like this. So here's the example of how it felt.
Okay.
I was just introduced to this person at a party, and before I can get a word out to say hi, what comes back to me is like a flood of, hi, my name is so and so, and this is what I do, and this is why you would want to hire me. And it's okay if you don't want to, but I felt like I had to tell you. Right? Have you ever gotten a message like that?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be full honesty. I was that person when I first came into the world of online entrepreneurship. I had no idea because that's just what I thought you should be doing, telling everybody and word vomiting and just be like, you need what I have. So, yes, I am guilty. I've improved tremendously once I finally understood what I was doing. But yes, and I know so many people are probably listening and they're like, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah,
So
let's
what's
hope not.
next?
Let's hope not. Let's hope that was in the past. But it comes from the training they've gotten, which goes back to the olden days. And listen, I'm old, and this is before me, long before me. When salespeople used to knock on a door, the door would open and you would go blah, 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 before the door would shut. Or
Right.
pick up the phone for telemarketing, blah, 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 blah. But that's not the age we live in anymore. Okay? It just isn't. So I always, when I get messages like that, like I could just hang up on them, right? Delete,
Right.
go. I do my best to educate. And I just say, listen, before you start selling, because it always comes like this. I saw your profile, right? I saw your profile. And then that's all they say about me. Like maybe if you told me what you saw in my profile that made you feel that I might be interested in this, we could start a relationship, right?
Yeah.
But don't give me this BS that you saw in my profile. No, all you did was see my name on a list of possible connections, never bothered to go and look at me, never bothered to do the easy market research that is sitting right there on my profile to build a relationship. And so that's why I wanted to go back to market research. How do you do it? Read someone's profile page. If you're wanting to connect with a company, first go to their company, then look at the job descriptions inside the company, then do a search for somebody who holds those job titles that would be the people who would make the decision, then go to that person's profile, find something you have a connection with, and talk to them about that when you send a connection request. And the other thing is, in none of these three cases did they even send me a connection request. No, I was simply a target. They had no interest in getting to know me unless I was interested in immediately buying their product or service.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of relationship is that?
100% agree with you. From someone who's committed those kinds of, I don't want to say crimes, but someone who had a lot of those missteps in
Crimes
the
against
beginning.
humanity, for sure.
I've course corrected, but let's kind of delve into this before we move into the relationship aspect, because there's still so many people who are out there who are like, well, you have to send 100 messages a day. Well, you may know 100 people, but times 500 people. So that means you're constantly fishing for new people, right? What are your thoughts around this? And I don't advocate sending out all these messages at all at this point in my life. But when you're starting or you're still trying to get a rhythm or train yourself on sales, like what's the next best option then?
Okay, so as I talk about in my book, Selling from Your Comfort Zone, where we have to start, and I don't often use the word have to, and I'm saying if you want to follow what I call the alignment marketing formula,
Yeah.
we have to get in touch with ourselves first. And I'm just like other sales trainers will say, forget about you, take the attention off yourself. No, we start with ourselves. Why am I choosing to represent? So let's take the word sell out of it for right now. Not that I have any problem with the word selling, but other people do. So let's take the word selling out and put in, why am I representing this copier company? Or why am I representing my coaching program? Or why am I representing my hair salon? Or why am I representing this insurance? Right?
Yeah.
That's where it starts. Why am I doing this? And if the answer is to make money, forget it, you will not make money because there is no true alignment with what this product or service actually does. So we have to find our personal story first as to why we're committed to representing this with joy, with a sense of a calling, with a sense of purpose. So yeah, I did just elevate the sales profession to the level of a calling because
Yeah.
when we do, everything else falls out from that in the most beautiful way for people.
Love it. You're speaking a love language. Carry on.
Okay. So once we know why we're doing it, then it becomes easy to think about, well, who are the people who would love it or need it as much as I love it? So, hair salon. Why did I decide to open a hair salon? Whatever that passion is. Now, who would love to be able to receive that, right? So, I have a client, a dear friend, actually, who started as a client. That's usually the way it works for me. And she is a phenomenal makeup artist. Now, she could do makeup in a salon. She could very easily make lots of money doing that. But her passion is more than just makeup. Her passion is helping people feel beautiful from the inside out. And her true focus is to serve people who are like her, which is people who want to be in front of the camera sharing their message. So she's very clear who her audience is. It isn't a bride who wants to get her makeup done for that day. It's an influencer or somebody who wants to become an influencer who's on camera all the time and wants to look good and feel like she's good or he in what they're presenting. Is this making
Yeah.
sense? That she's really honing her connection to her passion to an audience that would have the need and the same connection as she does. So she can speak directly to them heart to heart.
Yeah. In
Okay.
integrity and authentically. It's beautiful. And going to your marketing conversation, that makes that piece that much easier. Yeah.
I say so. That's why I don't understand why people don't do it. Like
But I
the
think they
other way
don't
is really
understand.
hard.
So let's just go back to like my younger years when I was making all those missteps. I didn't understand that piece, right? Because we'll just stick with the makeup. Everyone loves makeup, and whoever loves makeup, they need what I have, Stacey. So of course I'm going to go and I'm going to bombard them. But it's that and I think part of it is a fear, right? Saying, oh my God, well, if I don't go and tell Stacey about my makeup stuff, then she's never going to buy from me. So it's the energetic alignment on the back end, or sorry, energetic misalignment on the back end that on the front end causes all the missteps. And I'll say from my own example, when I started into the online business world, I stepped in actually selling hair care. So I think it's funny that you brought up the salon, the hair salon. Everyone shampoos. So I would word vomit on anyone who commented or said something. And I mean, you only got 3 messages. I would send those 3 messages to one person. So imagine, like, at every misstep possible, I probably made. No, I did make. But it's that fear that, well, it's like FOMO, but in a weird way.
Oh, it's beautifully said. What you just said is exactly that, but it's trained. See, human beings normally wouldn't act like that, right? If we met
Yeah.
somebody at a party We wouldn't go, oh my God, I've got to tell them everything right now. It's like, let's hold back. In fact, we
100%.
would feel ridiculous, right? We would feel ridiculous. So where does this come from? It comes from bad sales training. And it goes back to what I said years ago, having to get everything out before they shut the door on you. But
Yeah.
that's not the way we do business anymore. Nobody goes, I don't think anybody goes knocking on doors. You have to be really careful these days, right?
Right.
I mean, that's the sad part of it. We don't go intruding on people anymore that way. People, there is still robocalls, okay, but we can block them. The way business is done now is really human being to human being. And if we are the one doing the marketing, then we have to ask questions first. So going back, so we're in alignment with ourselves.
Yeah.
Now we're in alignment with the audience that would enjoy the conversation I want to have about what it is I represent. Now I want to go hang out where those people are. I want to be in alignment with it. Am I talking to a consumer? Then I will probably want to be on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest. Am I talking to a business person, meaning what I'm selling? They need to conduct their business. Then I probably want to be on LinkedIn or Twitter. So choosing where I'm going to be, and then inside of that larger party, because I call each one of these a party.
I like that.
Well, if we put it in our head that way, it keeps us from acting, like spammy pammies.
Yeah. Love it.
And as
Okay.
you said, vomiting all over people with our words. I mean, it's a great metaphor. So then when I'm at the party, where are the people that I want to talk to probably hanging out? What room of this big mansion are they all congregating? Because people congregate according to special interest, right?
Yeah.
So it's taking the time. That's the marketing piece, taking the time to think about, why do I do this? Who would want to have a conversation with me about it? Where are those people hanging out? And then adjusting our message, throwing out the script, not being prepared to overcome objections, because what we focus on is what we get.
Yeah.
I mean, we know this, and yet we're taught, here's how, if they say no, why do I want to think about them saying no? I want to think about them
Love the
saying yes.
reframe. Yeah.
Okay, I want the yes, please. So I'm going to ask questions to find out if somebody is likely to say yes. I'm not going to expect them to say no. I'm going to ask them about their needs. So, for example, one of the people yesterday was a coach. Now, if she had gone to my profile page and said something like this, Stacey, I see that you've written 5 books, you're a TEDx presenter, you're a coach, you've got lots of connections here. I'm wondering, is there any area of your business that you could use support with? And I'm asking because I love to help women entrepreneurs at this stage of their business grow to this stage. But you see, she still could have gotten her pitch in, but started by asking, saying, I know who you are. And because of who you are, I'm reaching out to you because I think you might need my services because this is who I serve.
Yeah.
Am I right? And then she could say, am I right? Am I connecting with you in the right way? Is this the way you would want somebody to approach you? There's lots of questions we could ask.
Yeah.
If we weren't afraid that the door was going to get shut in our face because we're trained to expect the no.
Yeah, I love how you're connecting it to that, because what I think oftentimes we forget, so in our DNA, we hold cellular memory from 12 generations past, right? And
Yes.
in that, whether you're an immigrant, whether you were the daughter of a salesperson, whether you knew someone who back in the day sold vacuums door to door, or you watched a TV show where that was the thing to watch, like it was those encyclopedias that went door to
Yeah.
door for a long
Yeah.
time. I know I'm aging myself here, but
No,
whatever.
we had a set in my house, so yes.
Yeah. Like you have those cellular memories. So I think it's really cool that you're connecting it to that moment in time because it's actually very true. And then if you want to take it to that modern day feel, it's almost like the 80s used car salesman, right? Because they were always portrayed so negatively online. Salesman, saleswoman, whoever it was, but that negative representation, I think it stays with so many people. And so then it directly is like, ugh,
Yeah.
sales. I love how you're connecting that.
If I were, thank you very much. And you and I, obviously, we knew this going into this, that we were
Yeah,
aligned in our perspective.
yeah.
But I often think is, if I just said right back to the person, if I approached you like this, would you say yes?
Which brings an interesting comment. So my dad is passed a long time now, but he would always tell me, he's like, look, not everyone has the common sense. No, sorry, not everyone uses their common sense, right? Like everyone has it, but it's not always turned on. And I think part of it is that fear that, oh my God. So really, it's really asking yourself, like, what am I actually afraid of? Right? And having
I
that
love that.
deeper and going back to your step one, getting into that self-alignment. But
I love what you said. It is. It's the fear of making the offer that winds up going ahead of the person. And so, and that's what I'm saying. You're expecting the no when you, not you, but when somebody is expecting the no when they make the offer, how they show up in front of somebody is going to lead the person to say no. That's the
yes,
funny part about it. And so I love that you said, let's just accept that we have that fear. Now, is there a reason that we want to sell this product or this service?
yeah.
Focus on that reason and make that completely what fills our minds and our hearts, and watch what happens in the way that the conversation we have with someone becomes more satisfying, more fulfilling, and leads to a yes.
That is beautiful. And that landed for me like I could feel that in my sacral. I love it. Thank you for that.
You're
And for
welcome.
those of you who are listening, save this and share this. Look, no matter what industry you are in, you are a human being. You are constantly selling yourself. Whether you want to accept it or not is a different story. But that's the reality of our life now. You're walking into, even when you're walking into the supermarket, be you and the person in the produce, you're building a connection. Look, I used to get some of the best produce. Why? Because I had a relationship with this person.
That's right.
Did I know them intimately? No, that's not what I'm talking about. It's literally how Stacey and I got to connect to each other. We had a conversation. Don't miss that opportunity, right, Stacey?
That's exactly it. Is don't stop being a human being.
Yeah.
Don't stop being a human being when it comes to representing something you believe in, because
Beautiful.
that's all that it's all about.
So if people want to connect with you further to take a deeper dive or to read your book, like how are we finding you? Where do you like to hang out?
Okay, well, you can find all of that in one place. Actually, I made it easy. My website is
Okay.
Stacey, Stacey, and Ann Hall, HALL.com, StaceyAnnHall.com. You can read an excerpt from my book, Selling from Your Comfort Zone, if you click the tab book. And it is available on Kindle, Audible, and everywhere in the world where paperback books are sold. I offer a free opportunity to learn the alignment marketing formula, and I call it the 8 steps to a sale. And you'll find that if you click on courses, the very first course is 8 steps to a sale, and it's free. And I really break down the pieces that are marketing and the pieces that are quote unquote selling
Okay.
from my description of what selling is and how to do it. So It's all right there. One training takes you from A to Z, even if you're brand new. And I look forward to hearing that people are feeling more satisfied, achieving more success, and making more sales as a result.
That is beautiful. All of that, for those of you who didn't have a pen and couldn't write it down, is in the show notes. So definitely make sure to click on it and grab those 8 steps. Hello, let's humanize sales, because again, no matter what, we want to put our best foot forward. And what a great way to do this. So Stacey, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to diving into your book myself. I am a constant learner, and I love that we had so many ways in common, and I'm very excited to get to learn more from you. For those of you listening, thank you for tuning in, and if something resonated, please be sure to us in the comments below, tag us on Instagram, wherever you're hanging out. And for everybody, we are wishing you a beautiful day, and remember, it's time